Hello, welcome to the studio. It is another great Wednesday, and I am so excited to be here with you. We are here every Monday and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Today, I happen to have recorded this Wednesday. It seems like on Wednesdays I have to record, but you're here in my heart. So if you're watching, please don't forget to thumbs up that video. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel because we would love to have you in our community. Now, today we're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart: forgiveness. Take a deep breath because I'm going to cover some things. I'm going to talk about some things. And I want you to know that I have not done all the things that I am going to discuss. Most of them I have. However, I digress and I take some steps back because in some places asking for forgiveness, not so much as me asking someone for forgiveness, but having to forgive someone who has done a terrible thing. So here we go. You ever had someone hurt you? I mean, have you ever had someone that hurt you so bad that even thinking about forgiving them makes you want to throw something or burn something down? Yeah, that's me. So, but here's the thing: holding on to that anger, I've learned it's not like drinking poison and expecting them to suffer, though in my mind some days. But anyway, God doesn't like that either. So today I want to talk about how to forgive, even when you're still pissed off, because for me, I am still pissed off. The people that killed my son, the people that took my son's life, I am still utterly pissed off. But I have prayed and I have asked God to give me the strength to start the journey to forgiving. It has been 5 years since my son's death, and I am still navigating that road of what does forgiveness look like. So in my journaling over the last year, 2024, is when I really ask for the strength and ask God to help me because I can't do it alone. We're not talking about somebody that stepped on your toe. We're not talking about somebody that wrecked your car. We're not talking about somebody that cussed you out. And we're not even talking about friend issues. We're not even talking about somebody betraying you in a marriage. I'm talking about somebody that took a life that I will never have again. For me, that was acknowledging that I didn't want to forgive. And I know it says in God's word that we must forgive. And we must forgive because we want our Heavenly Father to forgive us, right? So I want God to forgive me for the wrong things that I do, whether outwardly or inwardly. Same thing. The murder, it says thou shalt not kill, right? And then we move on over here, and then it's Jesus died for sin. And so then in my mind, I try to reconcile, well, Jesus died for their sin, just like he died for my sin. And then I try to look at it and put it and be like, well, you know what? Their sin's a little greater than mine. And then I have to go and then you're having this little mental thing, and it's like sin is sin, and it all stinks in the nostril of God, right? So when you're asking someone to forgive you, you're still angry. And if you are still angry, there's nothing wrong with being angry. You have to acknowledge your feelings. That's number one. That's first and foremost. So the first thing I had to do was stop forcing myself to be over it, right? I was mad for a reason. I'm still mad for a reason. I will never be able to hug my son again. Never. And that makes me go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with my emotions, right? And I have to feel it. So I want you to literally take a deep breath because in all of that, I had to feel all of that. And as I'm talking to you, this is a hard conversation for me because I kind of dance around it and I kind of play with it and I kind of joke about it. But it's serious for my life because it not only do I need to forgive the people that were responsible for my son's murder, I need to forgive all of the people around that situation. October the 4th, 2019 encapsulated a lot of things. And there are people that I am still not talking to because of their part in some things that, took place. And I'm working on it. I'm not perfect, and I'm not taking that out that I'm only human. I'm not. I'm just saying that to visit some of those things brings back that day as though it's the same day, and it puts daggers in my heart as though it's happening all over again. And I had to acknowledge those feelings, right? And making peace with it did wonders for me. It made me be in control. Now, I know that it wasn't anyone but God, because God has put some things out there and showed me some things, and over time I'm starting to realize that separating forgiveness doesn't mean that I have to reconcile. That doesn't mean I have to visit these people, see these people, or even now that we don't have to have a trial and now they've been sentenced for his murder and everything, I literally don't have to engage with them anymore. Those are the people that directly killed him. The people that were indirectly responsible for the other side of the pain during his funeral, during the after of having him cremated, and those people, I forgive them for their act because they were, let's see, they were reacting out of a place of pain, not as a mother, but as whatever. And I can't stay stuck there, right? I mean, we're talking about to the place of there's a whole child, there's a grandchild involved in the whole scenario that I'm not a part of his life because of the things that have happened with his mother and all of this with my son's murder. And I'm every time I get ready to move forward to want to include my grandson in my life, I feel like I have to deal with her and her mother, and then it just goes down this spiral, and then it's a replay that comes up and replays the whole pain and the conversations and the lack of empathy, the disrespect. And God said, "That's not your business. I'll handle them." So that I've gotten unstuck with that. However, I'm still working on the forgiving part, and I'm still working on having to have them distantly in my life. So we're working on it. But you can forgive, and I can set boundaries. So this is what. So we can kind of put a number on this, and I guess I would say number two. Let's call this one number two. Separate forgiveness from reconciliation, because you can forgive and set boundaries, especially if people are family. Sometimes people, like, you can't forgive people that are family because you don't want to, but you can, right? You really can. You can forgive and walk away. It's about freeing you, not fixing them. And a part of me have said, that's my part of saying, when my grandson is older and able to really understand, then I think it'll be better. That's for me. I don't know. I'm still working this thing out. It's a whole journey right now. It's not something that is partly. But even before my sons died, there was a whole lot going on that he was having to go through. So when I tell you it's a whole lot just over here in that, and to not have to deal with all of that, I've just decided to separate myself from it all, work on me and forgiving myself for just not wanting to deal, because I had to forgive myself, because a part of me was going to let them really walk all over me. And I'm like, I've lost a child here. They're not caring. And I even said something to the effect of, I asked the mother, I was like, if someone were to come along and take your child, and then she said, it depends on how they take her child. I didn't get it. So again, set boundaries. My boundary right now is I'll wait until he's older, till we can have that relationship. And I'm still asking God to give me the forewith to move forward if that's not what He wants. If it needs to be something a little bit more. But it's always different. My children by my daughters, different relationship than the children by my sons. If you can, attest or relate to that, if you're a mother who have daughters and sons, you kind of get it. But it's not so much that I'm asking for forgiveness from them, nor do I feel like I have to ask for or give them forgiveness. Maybe, maybe not, and maybe the person that I will need to apologize or or maybe ask for forgiveness will be my grandson. Not sure, but that is one of the things that is involved in the. I'm pissed off about it because in the first year of his life, I wasn't a part, and then now afterward, it's kind of like you want me to be a part because the fun part is kind of like over with. So, but anyway, it's about freeing you. And I feel like I freed me by not trying to fix them. Right. And then the best way that made me do that was I was able to shift. I've shifted my focus from not focusing on them, but focusing on me. And I asked myself, what is holding on to this anger? What is it costing me? And when you think about the people that murdered my son, and I thought about the anger it was costing me, it was like when I would have a conversation with people at sometimes, I didn't want to be involved because they would say something that was so minimal to them, but it was catastrophic to me, right? And so let's be real, resentment is heavy. It drains your energy, it steals your joy, and it keeps your, it keeps these people, it kept these people in my head rent free. It still keeps them in my head rent free now because it's like their parents get to go visit them in jail. My son is in an urn on a shelf. You know what I'm saying? And that makes me angry all over again. And then I have to start the process of forgiveness. And Karen, you have to forgive them and slap some paint on some paper, go down the journey, do whatever you need to do. And they don't even deserve the space. They don't even deserve the thoughts. They don't even deserve to be in my head. So then I've learned to shift the focus. And I've learned to do that by, I'm going to go over here on my desk real quick, because this isn't going to be long. I really wanted this to be intentional, and I wanted it to be really, really direct to help someone to know that you can forgive while you're still pissed off. I had to reframe the situation, right? It's going on 6 years. So we're in, at the time of this recording, it's what is the date? February 12th, 2025. So in October, it'll be 6 years. So October the 4th, 2019 was the time when my son was murdered. It was very public, it was national news, and there was nothing that I can do about it, right? So I had to kind of reframe the situation now, 5 years later. Now, this doesn't mean I'm excusing their actions. By no way means that I'm doing that. But it's not my job to want to punish them and do anything aside from what the justice system has done. Whatever God has in store for them and for their life, that's God's business. That is not my business. But if you can, try seeing them as flawed, messy humans that God created, and it's God's job to fix them. That gives me a little bit, but just like the rest of us, hurt people hurt people. And so in my timing of trying to forgive these people, if something happened, or say my husband said something and I'm in a headspace that I'm really journaling or trying to focus, and then he comes in, I snap at him, snap at the dog, snap at whoever. Those people don't deserve to be snapped at. So that's why I had to reframe the situation and really keep myself and give myself really, really, really the mental capacity to grieve in 2024. I took all of 2024 to really pretty much write another book and put my emotions into it. Well, 2023, but 2024, I started the book about my son's life as the witness. And all of the things ever since this whole thing happened. I feel like the day Botham John died, my son died that day, because being a witness to that trial really set things off for my son's life after that, right? But there was nothing that I could do with that, but I've tried to take that pain and turn it into something positive. And that's how I've reframed the situation, right? And that's why I'm here talking to you from my place of pain, turning it into purpose to help people to navigate forward after such a tragic situation. So let go of apology. You may never let go of the apology that I may never get. Those people that were responsible for my son's direct murder, I'm not going to stand by the mailbox or my email waiting for someone to say, Karen, I apologize for killing your son. No, that's the tough one. Or I stop sitting and waiting for people who said something or who has done something. And they were talking about people that are still in my life. Go away from the murder of my son to go back to family things that have happened. I'm not waiting on an apology. that I may never get. Here's the reason why: because some people will never take accountability for what they've done. They'll only come back and be like, oh, my bad. But they'll never apologize, and they'll continuously do the things that they've done because, for one, they don't acknowledge that they've done something wrong. They're only apologizing because you're in a funk or you're in a mood, and they're like, oh, well, let's do this. Girl, my bad, my bad. And if you're waiting on an apology to move on, you're giving them power over your healing. Don't do that, right? Take that power back. Choose peace, even if they never say sorry or I apologize. Or will you forgive me for the wrong thing I did, said? I know it's tough. Trust me, I'm living what I'm telling you about. And release that pain. This is where we're going to go over to desk time, because this is where I want, if you're holding on to pain right now, if you're watching this, for number one, if you're watching this, you're not subscribed to the channel. If I said anything that resonates with you, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so that you can join me. Because every now and then, it's not all about art sometimes. It's not all about the dog sometimes. Sometimes it's about having a face-to-face conversation just to give you a little bit of my pain. And right now, when I woke up this morning, that's why I was trying to figure out why I had not titled Wednesday's conversation. And it was because I was wrestling with this conversation. I was wrestling with this right here, really honing in on my pain and releasing the pain and really talking about forgiving people that took my son's life. It's not as simple as waiting on, people to who said something crazy or talked about you or whatever. That's a little different. We're talking about someone that took something from me that I will never get back. But the forgiveness isn't just a decision, it's a release. And every day that I do something like this, I help you have this conversation, it helps me breathe. It literally opens up the nostrils so I can take a deeper breath and inhale and really let the air flow through my lungs when I say that I am going to release that and I'm going to stop being pissed off. Now, does that mean that I don't go back? That's not what I'm saying, but it's a process. And what I am saying is forgiveness while angry is something that you can do. So real quick, I want you to kind of go back over those. I want you to acknowledge the pain, separate the forgiveness from reconciliation. What was the other? Oh, shift your focus. Shift your focus. Reframe the situation. Set boundaries and take your power back, right? And release the need for an apology. Because while you're sitting up there waiting for an apology and being angry, you ain't gonna get it. And they gonna be out there living their life, living their best life, not even worrying about what you got to say. So don't worry about it. So let's go over here to desk time. Okay, over here on the desk, we're going to really, really, really show you. I'm not going to be doing anything because, like I said, this is, I wanted this to be real short and sweet. I wanted to be able to talk about um, the power of forgiveness while you're angry. This is how I really, really, this print right here. Most of the other ones I've kind of turned into something beautiful already. Let me see. We can probably go through that book a little bit. But this one right here started out, it really started out, it was supposed to be something, I can't remember. I think the color, because I'm looking at the outside, was supposed to be teal. But remember I told you I have those days where they're living in my head rent free. And I'm angry and I go back and forth and people just really upset me, or I really upset myself. People don't upset me. I just really upset myself. Let's just be real. Let's be honest. Okay. And so how you deal with that and how you navigate that after that really depends on you. This picture, you can turn it 50 different ways. You're still going to see the anger. The red was the blood. The black was the anger. Because there is some yellow in there, I know I was trying to get out of the space. So if any of my paintings you ever see, if they are dark, 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 and you see splashes of yellow, that means that somewhere in there, I was seeing a glimpse of hope, because yellow has started representing my place of hope. But this is what it looks like. So when you're angry, and let's say you're not into any of this right here, you don't want to paint, you don't know, you don't do any painting, you can doodle. You can take a pen, you can just scratch, you can scribble, or you can rip paper. There are a lot of things you can do so that you can really work those aggressions out. That's what I really want you to do. But for me, slapping paint on paper is the thing that I've learned to really express my anger, put it on the canvas, or put it in um, collaging. These are pages ready. They're ready, but luckily I haven't been angry lately. That's why I say 2024 was a great time for me to really, really, really work it out. And that was the last pretty much sentencing of the person, and I got to walk through the door. Now this was a lot, and I journaled on here, and there was no rhyme or reason. You don't have to have any artistic ability to do these things. All you need is some paper, maybe paint, maybe markers, whatever, scribble, scrabble, and I just put a door out of a magazine. I ripped a door out of one of my magazines, put it on there, and pretty much just journaled over it, slapped some paint around it. But the road is to a door. Like now that it's all over, I can see like, oh my God, it's walk through the door. Walk through the door of forgiveness, right? And I'm still waiting to get to the other side of this door, to open this door to say, I really forgive them. But right now it's a process. And it's forgiveness isn't pretending nothing happened. Opening this door, forgiving doesn't mean that I'm done with it. It doesn't mean that I'm making peace with what they did. But I need to say that I'm going to forgive so that it doesn't control me. That's more so it. This was a good piece right here that was dark, and I found beauty in it because again, you see the yellow, and we can never go back. Lord can pay us back if for the pain we've endured. Does that mean I'll ever get my son back? Not on this earthly realm. But I think about all the memories, and I have his daughters and his son whenever I let him enter into my world. But he comes with a lot of pain as well. Okay, that's that. So, oh, here we go. I think this was one I was doing something on live, and I kind of was showing people how you can literally just take a pen, pencil, and just if you're angry and just scribble and scribble and scribble until you don't feel it, and just let it out as you're breathing. Same thing. Just took some paper and printed out. That's my granddaughter's feet, my son's daughter. Live with dignity. Like I'm really talking to myself and telling myself how to do this grief journey. I have hope, right? I have a peace about the whole thing. It's going to be okay. Okay? So that's that. And then all of my pain, all of this turns into this. The beauty of it all. These are some that I did last night. I was feeling a little, again, the grief grabs me by the throat. I was on a call last night, a training call, learning about chakras and the way our body really uses the energy. And I have been the training last night, I couldn't really grab it. I'm still kind of grasping the thought of it. And so I painted, and I just made little bitty portraits. And so this is what I'm saying, the beauty of it all, from the heartache and all of that, it still turns into something beautiful. And that is what you get to do for your life. That is what you get to do on your journey. You don't have to really, really, really sit and wait on an apology. Let go. You may never get it, right? Release the pain. Okay? Look forgiveness. Look, this is for real. Like, these are my flowers. I can write forgiveness on each one of these to tell myself to forgive. But if I don't really give myself the mental to really say, I'm forgiving these people for killing my son. I'm forgiving these people for killing my son. And I have to keep saying it sometimes so that I can remember why I am on this forgiveness journey. Because sometimes we say, oh, I forgive them. But what are we forgiving them for? Not what they're for asking for apology for, but what are we forgiving them for? So forgiveness isn't about saying what they did was okay. It's about saying, I refuse to let this define me anymore. And that's power. So if you're ready to step into that freedom, then start small. Start something like this book isn't done, but Get you a little book and get you a little pen. I can't open this one up because, well, can't show you if I don't want to open it up, right? Oh, and get you a book that talks about forgiveness. Like, read what other people are doing. So this is a little book. It's my little book. I made it. And again, it's not a lot. So it gets to tell me, so you can take a pen and you can journal. And, the asemic writing is always my thing. I can't write and talk, even though you can't read it, right? You get to take your pencil and do something like these could represent teardrops. Like, I don't know, whatever it is for you. Mine just happened to be slapping paint on paper in any form that I choose, right? But start small. Say it. Say what you're forgiving. I'm forgiving those guys for setting my son up, for ambushing him and murdering him in the street. I'm very defined about what I'm forgiving. I'm forgiving them that they get to live and my son is dead. I'm forgiving them for that. And today, right now, I'm confessing that I'm forgiving them for that. That doesn't mean in a week or 2 weeks or even this afternoon that because I've released all that, that the enemy isn't going to come and pop something back into my forefront to be like, no, they don't deserve to be forgiven. But God said that they do. Just like when Jesus was on the cross and the two thieves said, remember me. And Jesus said, from this day on, you'll be with me in paradise. Something is the same thing, but God doesn't want junk. Jesus will have to give them time before they can be allowed to do. So we all have to stand at that cross, hang on the cross of sins of whatever it is, and we have to be forgiven. Whatever it is that you may be, you might not be perfect. None of us are. Y'all know when I'll be perfect, when I'm dead. So we have to forgive. And most people think it's murder. We don't forgive that. Sin is sin. It's all God's business. God sent his son Jesus to die for sin, the sins of the world. He knew what was going to happen before I did. Create something beautiful. It starts out rough. This might be your journey now. It might be looking terrible. It might be looking really, really rough. After I get off of here, I am going to slap some paint on some paper. I'm going to start with black because right now I feel heavy. I feel heavy and light at the same time. It's kind of hard to explain. So I hope this really can get to reach someone that needs to really, 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 really hear me. Really hear me and understand that grief is hard when you don't forgive. Grief is hard enough, but when you have unforgiveness in your heart, it's harder. And some days when I want to get on here and I want to create and I want to be all the things and be bubbly and design beautiful things, I have to pray that prayer. Lord, help me to forgive the hardest parts of my heart, which right now I'm not feeling. I want the joy back in my life, God. And once I usually pray that prayer, then I'm usually free to breathe and take a deep breath and really, really, really flow in it, right? So remember, forgiveness isn't about saying that you forgive what they did, and you're not saying that it's okay. What you're forgiving for you, not for them. You're forgiving for you, not for them. Anytime, anything that someone has done for you, someone, your spouse, or you and your spouse have had your tiffs or whatever, and you're trying to figure out how are you going to forgive. Just do it. You're not asking for forgiveness for the act. You're asking for forgiveness for what they did to you, and you're releasing the forgiveness for yourself. Because why? You deserve the peace. And whatever and whenever and however, be ready because you're ready to claim it. I am ready to claim it, but I know I have to forgive. I have to create a space in my heart to say that I really truthfully forgive, and I do. But in 2025, it's all about healing and it's all about change. This might be it. My word of the year is change. I am very much so grateful to God to continue to give me the voice to speak and share because I want you guys to understand that forgiveness, again, isn't about saying that you forgive them for what they did. You're forgiving them so that you can release yourself, your thought process, right? So if you're not ready yet, that's okay too. Just know that you deserve the peace. And whenever you're ready, claim it. If this hits home, first of all, I want to apologize that it has to hit home and you're in a place where you're not wanting to forgive. I hate, I think I remember the very first time when I had to forgive someone, and they have yet to apologize. This is, I mean, we're going back, this is years. This is probably high school. And I think I set the boundary. I didn't, I forgave them, but they came back and they hurt me again and again. And so the boundary got put up. And then once I put the boundary up, then the friendship pretty much dissolved, went its way. And then I got when talking to other friends, it was me who got the brunt and all the things. And I felt that I was better than them and all of that. And I realize now, talking about forgiveness, I am better than them because I chose to forgive them, but I chose to set up boundaries because their behaviors wasn't my problem. It wasn't for me to resolve or fix, if that makes sense. Okay. So um, choosing to choosing to forgive is just one of those things that you have to do. And so again, if this hits home, leave me a comment. Let me know, what are you doing to work on the forgiveness? And if you have forgiven, leave us a comment to let us know what maybe that you did that maybe can help us. Because what's the hardest part of forgiveness for you? And for me, I've already told you, it's like to say I forgive them means I forgive them for killing my son. They don't go together. That is not what I'm saying. I'm forgiving them for what they've done, and I'm leaving it into God's hand for how all of the whatever happens after that. But I have to release it in my mind because forgiveness is hard. And yeah, it's just hard. So as I take a deep breath and thinking about it, it's just, but I know it has to be. And if you found this helpful, let me get to the point, because again, I said I wasn't going to keep you long. But if you found this helpful and you're not subscribed to the channel, again, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when I do go live, because sometimes I go live just at the spur of the moment because I need to have a little joy, and coming on YouTube, hanging out with you guys brings me joy. That's why sometimes when I have to do pre-recorded, it kind of makes me feel a little alone because I don't have the feedback. But again, I thank you guys for hanging out with me. And if you are watching this recording, thank you. And if you're still here at the end, hit that bell, that thumbs up, and leave me a comment below that either you're praying for me on my journey, or you understand, or you're trying to forgive somebody. Engage, be relatable so that maybe I can gain something from what you had to do. We are here to help each other. This community is to help us grow together, help us come up out of a stifling place. Life is already hard enough. We do not have time to be adding and trying to carry this burden alone. And if you found this helpful, though, don't forget to like and subscribe, though, for more conversations like this, because I am going to be sharing more as we go on, because God has released me to really share the journey of all the things that I went through 5 years ago with my son. And it was just a terrible thing for, number one, a mother having to lose a child, but for number two, for a mother who has lost a child tragically, as I have, and many of my friends that I know. And it's just a sad one. So I would love to see you next time as we really, really, really delve into more conversations like this. So thank you for joining me in the studio today. And I am probably going to go live later on. So really, hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so you'll be notified. Remember, do something for yourself each and every day that serves and takes care of you and helps you on your journey. You know why? Because we can't pour from an empty cup. Bye, guys.